Hi, everybody. I'm John Kanary, and welcome to Breaking Through Limitations. Today, we're going to have a specific lesson with regard to breaking through limitations, to breaking through those barriers, breaking through those limits, overcoming, some of the things that just get in the way of us getting that clear order of thought, to get that clarity to do what we want to do. And today, I'm going to focus a little bit on self-sabotage, because I feel there are more people who spend more time figuring out why they can't do something rather than trying to figure out why they can do something, because you're doing the same thing, you're just directing it in another way. But I want you to think about something that I do every day, pretty well every day of my life. And I take and I put a big R on a screen, a whiteboard, green board, whatever. And I ask everybody to take that R and let it represent the single most important thing to each and every one of us every day. I'm talking about here now the word results. And when I talk about results, I'm talking about results in your health, in your happiness, and let's say in our wealth. But at the same time, let's say in our personal life, our family life, and in our business life. And from time to time, we kind of just mix that thing up just a little bit. And we start putting limits on ourselves because we're not getting the results. So obviously there must be a limit involved somewhere. But think about it this way. The laws of life are very simple if we would study them, if we'd really work with these here laws, these dynamic laws of life. And one of those laws of life state that it's create or it's disintegrate. In other words, you and I, we can't stand still even if we wanted to. I remember something by Mr. Earl Nightingale. Mr. Nightingale said one time, we stand on this here 50-yard line of life, afraid to go for the goal because we might fail. And then we don't want to step too far back because, again, we may fail. Kind of a crazy way to think, isn't it? But I want you to consider something. I believe that we spend more time figuring out why we can't do something rather than why we can do something. And I refer to that as self-sabotage. We spend so much time, of why we can't. We spend so much time even finding ways on why we can't. We're going to ask you to work with me here just a little bit. I'm not going to be any more than maybe 7 or 8 minutes, something like that. But I want you to think about this. The very first saboteur, if you could name it that way. I know my wife years ago, being French, used to say saboteur instead of sabotage, same word. But think about this. That single villain that seems to get in our way. Like we're so capable otherwise, but we allow these here limits, these villains, these things to control or to get involved in our thinking. And that first one is called procrastination. Procrastination is the very first villain. That very thing that seems to grab our thinking and pull it away from us as though we had no control. The second thing we need to understand and pay some attention to is this word. It's called blaming. Blaming, where we take no responsibility whatsoever. Now consider this. What is blaming? It's pointing towards something else or someone else as to why we're not doing something. Why don't we do it anyway and see if anything changes? And number three is called criticism. You see, we move from blaming to criticism. We're blaming, but we're also like criticizing what other people do or how lucky they are or they're never going to make it or whatever. It's almost as though we're hoping if they don't make it, it justifies why I don't. And number four is called envy. Envy. And yet, if you put all of these things really together, in other words, if we look at it this way for just a moment, we have a choice here to do something. And the choice that I'm referring to is we can figure out how we can do something, or we can spend our time figuring out how we can't do something, because there's good and bad in absolutely everything. Now, there's something that I kind of like work on a bit with, some people that I really truly enjoy working with. And it's called the 5 P's. Yeah. And that 1 P is called proper. Now listen to this, these 5 P's. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. Proper preparation, prevents poor performance. Now think about that for a moment. Because on a conscious level, you and I can take what are called these little clouds here, which are known as thoughts. And we take these little clouds and we bring them into our consciousness or into our conscious mind, where we can build an idea, whatever that idea might be, where we can build a goal, where we can build like the kind of business we want to build, the kind of relationship we want to build, be able to build anything. You take that idea, and the moment you start to work with it, you're going to get all kinds of feedback from your conditioned mind. Yes, the subconscious mind is your conditioned mind. And what it's doing is it's kind of rejecting the new idea that you're trying to build. Now, you've got to understand something. You've got to understand that you've been blessed and been given, just like I have or any of us have, but we've been blessed. We've been blessed with the power to build an image, the power to choose, the power to think, but we've been given and blessed with that power. We've also been blessed with the power to act. We can act on anything that we choose. Action. But I want you to think about this for just a moment. We can build the picture, and we can look for what's good about that picture, what's wrong with that picture. But as we build that picture, as we go to impress it into the subconscious mind, the conditioned mind, where all kinds of information like junk has been planted in our mind by whomever or whatever. But what we can do is we can keep giving energy to our idea. We can keep giving energy to preparation. We can keep giving energy to how we can do something. Proper preparation. We can do that. And if we keep doing that, we're eventually going to take that idea and transfer it to our subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind, remember, it has no ability to reject an idea, but we got to get by the conditioning first. We got to get by that conditioned mind. See, the conditioned mind, like you may have set a goal to earn a substantial amount of money, an income goal. But the conditioned mind has been told you will never earn that kind of money. Nobody in your family has. All your friends, none of them have. It's an amazing, amazing situation that we find ourselves in. So we can think and we can act. And if we would do that, if you'd start every single day, like I am working on programs now for 5 or 6 minutes each. It's kind of like morning coffee with John. That's what we're calling it. Morning coffee with John. Or you can click on, like my good buddy, Andrej Juric in Slovenia. You'll have programs prepared there where you can go on my website, click on that website, and up will come a hot 5 or 6 minute idea to kind of get you going, like while you're having your coffee. And we're going to do that for you, and it'll be available to you. There'll be somewhere in the neighborhood of 35 of those messages that you can grab hold of. And only have to listen 5 or 6 minutes, because I know some of you get tired of me, so I reduced it down to 5 or 6 minutes with some of the best ideas that I have learned, that I have borrowed, that I have stolen from many great thinkers over my lifetime. And I found out that's how they got it, the same way. Okay, so let's just do this once more, okay? If we look at, the self-saboteurs, these things, the self-saboteurs, number one, what is it? Come on, procrastination. What's number two? Number two is blaming. Number three is criticism. And number four is envy. And then we kind of come back over to our stick person here, where we can begin to change everything. See, remember, everything we've learned in our life is sitting in our subconscious mind. And we start to build an idea, and we wonder why, when we're trying to impress that idea, it's not working. No, it's not that the idea isn't working. You got to understand there's a side of you that's called the conditioned mind. That part of you that's been conditioned on everything that you know and everything that you do. Well, what happens with that is we've got to break through the conditioning, get emotionally involved in an idea that idea now starts to take place or resonance in the subconscious mind. And once that happens, the results begin to appear. But understand this. Please understand this. You've been blessed with two powers. One is the power to think or to choose, or the power to act. Now, here's where it starts to break down for a lot of people. We wonder why, I'm thinking about why I can't, and I kind of say no to the circumstance. Why do you say anything to the circumstance? Don't give the circumstance any energy. There's a great book written, it's called As a Man Thinketh. And in that book, he says, you will be what you will to be. Let failure find its false content in that poor word environment. Think about that, in that poor word environment. Don't allow circumstance to be a part of your thinking. I think it was someone once said, people are always blaming their circumstance. The people who get on in this world, they look for the circumstance they want. If they can't find it, then they make it. Think about that for a moment. If they can't find it, then they go ahead and they make it. See, I think the worst thing that can happen is that we have a set of circumstance that's not going to make a difference in our lives. So make a circumstance that will create the situation you want in your life. So play this thing over and over again every chance you get until you're actually taking the idea. You're just gathering some thoughts, creating an idea, acting on that idea, and continuing giving energy to your idea and to your action. And very soon, it's going to enter to your subconscious mind, where it will start to express itself in such an easy manner to your world. So this is John Kanary, and I look forward to seeing you in our next message. Thank you.